Mind Reader by Lost Hairdressers. My name is Clint Mattoni, and I hope you enjoy the conversation. Mind Reader.
Man, so how does it feel like just being so ridiculously good at your job?
I love that you say that, but I mean, I don't feel that way. I feel like always I can do more, I can do better. You know how it is in our job. But it feels good.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know if I'm that good as you say, but yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I understand. I think it's probably maybe a good thing that you don't feel as good. I think hair is the type of thing that you can kind of always be chasing, you know,
Yeah,
um, to perfect it because it's kind of always changing too, right?
exactly. Also, my neighbors. Also, I would say who defines what is great? Who
Yeah.
defines what is like good? Like it's
Yeah.
all like you think my work is great, but maybe your neighbor thinks my work is shit. Like I'm saying, if you are true to yourself and you like what you do,
Yeah.
then you are great, I think.
Yeah. That's beautiful. Good way to put it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I just have become such a fan of your work, and
Thank you.
especially your own photography, of your work is just so good, and I think it for me it's like I don't know whether Mustafa makes me want to do hair or quit hair more, but it's somewhere.
Oh my god, okay.
It's somewhere right in between, and oftentimes I feel like I could run Lost Hairdressers completely off of just your work.
No way, come on.
Well, I think because I think that your work really resonates with me. I really love it. Like I love the way you capture your images. I love the sensibility you have when
Yeah.
you do hair. It's great. It's really great to me.
Well, thank you
So
so much. I
yeah,
mean, this has a story. Now that you tell me this actually has a story why I started taking. Should I
please.
tell you this right away?
Yeah,
I
of
mean, I
course.
know you sent me the question, but I was like, let's just talk, whatever.
That's all I want. That's just like a vague idea of
Yeah,
how.
yeah, yeah. And I also, yes, I made notes and stuff, but I love to talk like this. It's like
Yes, perfect.
better than writing something down. Um, so before I moved to New York, I was working for a hair salon. I was working at Tony and Guy in my beginnings. I know you know Tony and Guy probably. And then I stopped because I followed like kind of my mentor back then. His name is Adrian. He opened his own salon and he was also in love with like taking pictures.
Okay.
But back then I was like, why is he taking pictures? He's a hairstylist, like that makes no sense to me. And then at one point I'm like, now I know why he takes pictures. It's like you capture a thing that you did and it's like yours, like it's there
Sure.
and nobody can take that away from you. Anyway, I was working in Germany. I was the education director for Schwarzkopf. I was like doing so much. I worked basically from Monday to Sunday every day. I made good money. And then at one point, me and my wife, we decided to go to New York. And I basically quit everything, like literally everything, like no Schwarzkopf anymore, no hair salon, no clients. I left everything behind. And I thought it would be easy to me to
Mhm.
like, New York is big and people will love me there because I was like quite successful in Germany. But
Around what year was this around?
not too long ago, that was like 2015
Okay, cool.
when we decided to go. In 2016, we moved completely like to New York, in the beginning of 2016. And then, yeah, it was like a year of struggling. My wife was working; she made good money. That was like I was really lucky with that because she was working for a tech company and the base was like in New York, so it's like perfect. But I didn't work at all. I basically was struggling to make connections because my English was like horrible. I didn't know anyone. I no photographers, no stylists, nobody.
Mhm.
Um, and then I decided to purchase a camera. I bought a camera. I bought a doll head.
Mhm.
I bought some wigs, or I made some wigs myself with like extensions and stuff, and I started to take pictures of them, and I really enjoyed the results, and I would love to see the pictures. I printed them, I put them in my apartment, I put it in a book. Um, this is how, when I was assisting, people were asking me like, "Oh, are you the guy who takes the pictures of the doll heads?" I'm like,
Mhm.
"Yes," you know. So I was like, "Whoa, people love this." And then I started to take pictures all the time of everything. Like, then the next step was like getting models in my apartment to take pictures
Right.
of them. The next step was getting a studio, inviting models in the studio, doing hair on them. And then this is how I got into taking pictures as well of my own stuff. And I think we as hairstylists see hair completely different than other people, like than photographers or like clients. And then the only way to express yourself in the best way is if you capture the moments yourself, I think.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. I
And yeah,
agree.
we see every angle different, you know, like a photographer takes a picture like this, but actually the hair looks better like this way, you know. And you as a hairstylist on a job, you cannot be like, oh, can you actually turn the model to the side because it looks way better? You don't do that, you know.
How much do you feel that you going down that road of taking your own pictures helped to shape kind of what you've become, your style?
That's a good question. The good thing is, you know how like film photography became a trend like a while ago, like maybe a few years ago, everybody was shooting film all of a sudden. I started to take pictures with film camera as well to like to see how it looks with a film camera. I
Mhm.
started to develop it, see like the image, the results, and then when I work with photographers, my first question was like, okay, what do you shoot? Do you shoot digital? Do you shoot film? Do you shoot daylight? Do you shoot? This is like very important thing
Mhm.
because you can do the best hair in your mind. You do the best hair, and then you go on set and it looks like shit, you know.
Mhm.
And I had that a lot of times where like I came home and I was like, I don't know, the pictures are not good. They're not
Right.
good
Right.
because whatever the photographer was shooting on film and I didn't see anything, and then it came out and it was like, wow, it doesn't look good, you know. This is, I think, taking pictures helped me in a way to get in the mind of a photographer and see like what he sees through the lens, and that's how I like also um, think as a photographer, think as a hairstylist, think as a stylist. So I think it's very important to like um, have that mindset as well.
Is that difficult on set because you don't always get to choose what photographer you work with, right?
It Yeah, it was very difficult. I mean, at some point I think I'm at that point where either a photographer likes my work, what I do, and you know what I mean? Like you kind of find your own people, like your circle in a way.
Yeah.
And then, you know, it's like you have like 5 photographers that you work with, and you know, okay, you cannot do straight hair with this photographer. You have to do like some volume with this photographer. Like, I mean, but it was tricky though, yes. I mean,
Yeah.
you see a lot of times I did hair and I was like, wow, it's so great. And like I got chills from of my own work, you know. But then the photographer is like, nah, the hair doesn't work. I'm like,
Mm.
all right,
And
you
yeah.
know.
Right. Huh. Um, do because you've become so good at documenting your own work, your own style, like all these just beautiful photos, these beautiful silhouettes of hair. Has it shaped the kind of work that is coming to you?
Uh, to be honest, no, I got more like commercial jobs. It's
Oh,
weird. Like the big clients, the big names, they book you because of your creativity, but then they at the end they want a ponytail, you know, like.
right.
And I'm not saying no to those. It's like easy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, that
I
way.
mean, wait, I'm not saying easy to a ponytail. I'm still struggling with a beautiful ponytail.
Forever.
But weirdly, I mean, yes, look on editorials, yes. Like people request me because they want something uh, like I would say crazy or like wild, like wigs.
Mhm.
something creative. But on commercial jobs, it's most of the time super simple hair. I think they just want someone who loves his job. Does it
Yeah,
make sense? I don't know.
it totally makes sense. That's
You know,
great.
when you go to a restaurant, you don't ask the chef like, "What's your favorite dish? Give me that." Like you still want just a pizza, or like,
Right.
or but you love that, you know.
Yeah, yeah. How interesting. So I hate to drag you through this because I'm sure you've talked about it 1,000 times, but I would love to know. I know you're born in Germany,
Hmm.
and I know you're Turkish descent, right? So tell me about like you coming up in Germany. What's your history?
Um, yeah, it's easy to tell actually. So basically, the first in my family was my grandparents coming to Germany after the war. Like Germany needed like workers to like build Germany again, you know. So they came, and then my mom came to Germany, my father came to Germany, and then basically my sister was born and I was born in '87.
Okay.
And I grew up in a Turkish community. Like basically, it felt like Turkey to me. You know, I was like, there's no difference. I spoke Turkish on the street, Turkish at home. My first German speaking time was like in kindergarten. I was like, well, what language are they speaking? You know, like what is this?
Yeah. And so
Uh,
what city was this in? Where
this
were you?
was it's called Geislingen, and this is like close to Stuttgart.
Got it.
You know, where
Okay.
Mercedes Benz and Porsche and all the car companies. It's very industrial actually.
Okay.
Very small, very like limiting, very. But back then you don't know. Like when you're a child, everything is big for you. You know, like. But looking back, it was like very very small. You know, I
Mhm.
just basically lived on that one street where all the Turkish people are,
Yeah.
and maybe there was like one Italian guy and a Russian guy that were my friends. And my first German friend I had when I was 15, I think. Like,
Mm-hmm.
so it's crazy. Anyway, I like growing up like this though. So it was kind of I feel like in New York, you know, New York you have all the people as well. Like it's like I live in a Polish neighborhood and I love that, you know.
Absolutely.
Um, but what was the question again?
I was just I know that your history
Yeah,
is it's colorful to say the
yeah,
least.
yeah,
So I know you grew up in Germany to Turkish parents,
yeah,
and your mom was a hairdresser, right?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Yeah. Now, so did you say that
Oh
your
yeah.
grandparents came over from Turkey or your parents? I can't remember.
My mom's dad came
Okay.
just by himself to like work, and then he went back, brought his whole family. My mom was like 12 back then,
I
and when
see.
my mom was 18, my father was already in love with my mom. So my father came to study. He came to Germany to like basically marry my mom when they were
Mhm.
like super young, and then yeah, and then my sister was born, and then I was born after a while.
Wow.
So
Okay. So
and
your mom was she already doing hair in Turkey?
he, no, she
No.
was 12 years old when she, that's a good question. She was 12 when she came to Germany. Then she went to school for 4 years, only 4 years, because that's like enough to learn like a little bit of the language. And then she started to work in a salon.
Okay.
Yes. So
Hmm.
when she was 16, 17, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did it seem like,
Um,
yeah, go ahead. Sorry.
yeah, no, no. This is like when I went to school. Actually, I think you sent me a question about like who were you in school or like something like, or what were you
Yeah.
in school or
Yeah.
something like that. I like that question because I like had to think about it. I'm like, wait, who was I in school? And
Uh-huh.
I just remembered today. um so I was, again, I think I was the one who got along with everyone in a way. So there was like always groups, you know, like you have like the groups of uh immigrants, the group of like German people, the group of like kind of the smokers and like the drinkers, you know, like it was always like a lot of groups, but I was getting along with all of them, you know?
Hmm.
And we had like one guy in the class. Oh my God, I wonder if he still knows me or if I know him. His name, I forgot him. Anyway, he was very like gothic, you know? He's like always dressed black, makeup, full white face with like gelled hair spiked up. And everybody was scared of him. But I was the only one who was talking to him. I went to his place. I'm like, hey, why are you like this? Tell me why are you like this? I was always interested in people, and I think that was my strength back then because I was very curious. I wanted to learn, like about people, about the history about them.
Hmm.
Um, yeah. And when I was sorry, I'm mixing up everything right now, but
Oh, keep going.
when I was little, because I have a son now, he goes to daycare, right? And he has a nanny as well. While we do this, the nanny is taking care of him, for instance.
Nice.
But back then there was no nanny. There was like neighbors. So my mom went to work to the salon. My father worked in a factory. My sister went to school, and I was at the neighbor's place. Like somebody. And when she was not available, it's the other neighbor. Or when they were not there, I had to go to the salon and wait for my mom like this, like
Yeah.
watching her doing it. This is literally when I got in touch with hair the first time with I don't know how old I was, super young, but I was in the salon watching my mom
Sure.
having fun.
Yeah.
She was like smiling, like doing the
Uh,
roller. I remember this, doing the rollers and talking to the client, the smell of Elnet, like all the time.
sure.
Um, but back then I didn't know I want to do this job. I was like, wow, this is like a female thing,
Hmm.
I thought, because it was just like females in the salon. And my m- my father was in a factory. He did like forks and knives by his hand. He was like, what do you call
Wow.
that when you like?
Like a blacksmith?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Uh,
and
yeah.
then
Wow. Amazing.
exactly he came home like super tired, hands completely black, like dirty with like his blue overall. It was always like you see that part, and then you see my mom being happy. I'm like,
Yeah.
actually, what do I want? I want to be a woman.
Yeah. Father, sit down. I have something to tell you.
Exactly.
Um, did you find yourself drawn to certain types of people or maybe a certain type of culture in school?
Mm, I went through phases, I guess, but there was a time where I was like very proud Turkish, and that was actually the worst decision that I made in my life. So, oh my God, I cannot say that maybe here. Maybe you can cut that out. But I made a decision that made my life harder. That's good.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
was
Tell me.
16. I was 16, and then the German government they
Mhm.
sent me a letter with 16. Imagine you're like a child, right? Like, do you want to be German citizen?
Okay.
And I was Turkish citizen, right? And I was like, no, fuck that. I'm like Turkish. I'm proud. No, no, forget about that. So I said no. I regret it so much.
Yeah.
It's so hard traveling with a Turkish passport. I'm still like proud Turkish, I have to say, but traveling with a Turkish passport, no, nightmare.
Wait, so you never got a
No.
German passport
Mm,
because of that decision?
mm.
Wow.
I
Interesting.
think I can nowadays. I could apply for it again, but I have to live there now. But I don't live there anymore, so
Right. Right. And I'm assuming no plans to move back.
I don't think so.
No.
My don't tell my parents, but I
Yeah.
don't think so.
I don't think they're watching this podcast.
And my mom will probably.
That
Yeah, she
that
will.
would be awesome. Did you find that your mom was doing hair out of passion or necessity? Which one can turn into the other, of course. But
Yes, I think, man, I just talked with her about this, but I think it was passion from the beginning
wow.
because she has six siblings.
Hmm.
Five of them are like girls, and I think she was the one doing the hair all the time. I don't have a story like this because I just had a sister. I mean, yes, I have a story with my sister. She was 16 years old, and that was my first touch with hair. And she told me like to iron her hair on the iron board.
Hmm.
Not like, this was in the 90s. It was not like straightening iron. It was like, okay, iron it. I'm like,
Right.
no, me.
Terrifying.
um,
It's terrifying.
but my mom, I think, did it out of passion. So what she loved is
Mhm.
the the talking with the client, the connection with the client, the yeah, I think that's what it is. She retired last year, and I was like, "Mom, do you like miss your salon?" And she said, "I just miss my clients." I'm like, "Wow, that's so good."
Yeah. Wow. So she meant she did hair for a long time.
She did hair for, man, very long. Yeah.
Aside from her just doing hair, um, how did she influence you? Maybe technically or aesthetically, did she feel like she had a big hand in your
Mm,
eye?
yes. I mean, how did she influence me? I had this one moment in my life as well. I mean, I always thought I'm the best back in the days. When I started doing hair, I'm like, "Oh, mom, I'm better than you in a way, you know." But then, when I was this education director for Schwarzkopf, they asked me to do like updos as well, and I was like, "Sure, I can do it." But actually, I was not good at it. I'm like, "Mom, how can I do like a basic updo?" She's like, "Okay, come to my house." So she teach me things, and then she was like, can you braid?" I'm like, "No." She's like, "You need to learn how to braid." I'm like, "I don't need to learn how to braid." I'm like, because it was not needed in the salon back in the days. But then she teach me, and I'm not even like, I swear, I know this till today. We had a doll head, and I was practicing braiding like cornrows till
Mhm.
my fingers were bleeding. I think I have still like marks here. My fingers were bleeding because I was like trying too hard, But
Yeah,
it
yeah.
worked out. I learned it in the night, basically. My mom teach me how to braid. Um, yeah, I think this was like my mom was a big influence, definitely,
That's
in
amazing.
terms of how happy she was when she did her job, and um, yeah, and all the classic things she teach me, like the rollers, to like how to set the rollers in the hair, because that I never learned as well. You in the salon, you just cut hair and color hair.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know when you started. When did you start doing hair?
I started doing hair in 2000. Well, went to school in 2000,
Yeah.
and then started in 2001 with Tony and Guy. Actually,
Ah, no way.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's my history is Tony and Guy, but it was Tony and Guy in the U.S.
Yeah,
Uh,
but it's the same school, isn't it? Like, did you have to learn like, was it the classic cuts? Like, you have to do like the tests before you go to
oh
the
yeah,
salon? Yeah,
yeah, very regimented. Yeah,
exactly.
yeah,
Did
it
you
was
do the
great.
French twist?
So the French twist, I don't think was required in they wanted I think this was the thing when it came to the American side, I think money became a little bit more of a
So
priority,
America.
right? And so they're like want you to get through your cuts and your test outs and all that stuff so
Yeah,
you can get on the floor and start making money. And then dressing hair was kind of like if you're drawn to that, then we have what you need to do
yeah,
that. But in the early 2000s and mid 2000s, it was all like flat ironing hair and
yeah. I know.
creating the most texture
Blowout
possible.
hairstyle.
Yeah, yeah.
You know?
And it really wasn't. I don't. To me, looking back, like it was cutting hair. It wasn't really hairdressing, and I grew up in Texas, so in my perspective, then I didn't really know that I was missing this big part of it,
Same.
right? But then moving to Los Angeles, I quickly realized um, that styling was a really big part of the scenario. You couldn't just rely on your haircuts being technically accurate, and clean. It needed to
I
also be
know.
camera ready.
I hate to say that, but when I cut hair, I don't cut like in a technique. I'm just like razoring the ends and like like some layers, and that's it. I mean,
I think that's an evolution. I really do. Like I think that um, you started with your techniques, you got all that stuff. It's not that you don't know what it is or how to do it,
yeah,
but you've
true.
gotten to a point where you can step outside of that and work visually. I remember I watched Christian do a haircut.
In the
He
park.
did a show in LA many years ago, and I watched him do a men's haircut. No sections. I don't even think he picked up the hair with his fingers at all. He's just grabbing bits of hair, and it was beautiful. I mean, I just watched it, and and I take sections always. Yeah, very like clean sections and stuff like that. But uh, I think being able to just look at hair and know what it needs and where that weight is too heavy or whatever. I think it's great. I think you should be able to do both.
I think so too. And
Yeah.
that's why um, I always say, like, the way I learned my way of doing hair is learning the rules and breaking the rules. Because when you learn the rules, it's like you basically follow one path. And like Tony and Guy is the best example, actually. I mean, I'm so grateful that I learned with them, definitely. But basically, every hairstylist does the same thing, right? So you do the, what was the haircuts called? Like whatever graduation, and it's the same haircut. You can cut the same, I can cut the same.
Mhm.
But then how do you make it different? In
Right.
You have to make something different. Like you break the rule. You just mix a haircut with this, and then it's becomes like your style. And that's how I learned doing my style of
Yeah.
hair. I think, yeah.
Was there was there a point where you were like, "Oh, that's my style." Like oh, I see it now. Like it's
Mm.
becoming something. I can feel it. You know, this is me on the head.
Oh, that's good. That's a really good question. I mean, there was one story that I did with what was it? Luomo Vogue, I guess. It was one of my first big editorials, and it was boys. And my friend Carlos, the stylist, he sent me like references, and it was like the references were my Instagram pictures of my doll heads that I did, like punk
Mhm,
things, you know.
mhm.
And I mean, I didn't grow up in the punk era, but I think I my my style is, I would say, like punk, glam, nostalgia, you know, like still
Mhm.
emotional, yeah, like romantic, you know, it's like all these things together. But
Yeah.
then we did this story basically with the boys. They're like in the graveyard walking around, and super punk
Mhm.
hair. Like one had like spikes to the side, and I was like, wow, I love this. I mean, I love the punk. I love the glam punk. I would say.
Yeah.
But again, I still don't know like what I really love. I just love sculpturing, you know, like
Yeah.
doing
Sure.
things with the hair.
It's so funny how much punk music
Yeah.
uh, culture has been a common thread in this podcast. You
Crazy,
know,
right?
yeah, it's really. I mean, from you to Eugene, um, everybody. I just interviewed a hairdresser here named Amber Duarte. She's amazing, but she grew up in Southern California, you know, in the punk scene, and it's just um, it's interesting how I don't know. I think because obviously it was so hair focused, it's so rebellion focused, you know,
Yeah.
youth focused. It's just this place where I think people who are leaning into the hair world can feel really comfortable, you know, and maybe really seen or be able to express themselves experimentally because it gives you permission,
Yes.
right?
No, definitely. And also, I think like names like Eugene and Guido and like, all these people in that era, I would say they were born there, like they grew up
Yeah,
with the
totally.
punks, you
Yes.
know. I mean, I wish I would be there as well at that time, but um, yeah, I think it's fabulous with like all these how they do their hair themselves. I actually This is also a thing in Germany. I think Germany was always a bit late. So in the 90s again, I saw a group of punks there. Like, but I think they were like, is there something like racist punks? No,
Oh, yeah.
right?
Yeah.
There is, right?
Mhm. Well,
I
like
remember.
heads, you know, Nazi punks and all that stuff.
Exactly. And I talked to them, and I'm like, my friend was like, don't talk to them. Like, I'm like, no, I want to know how they do their hair. And
Yeah.
I swear there was one guy with like huge like spikes, was it? And
Mhm.
white, like pink and
Liberty.
red and everything spiked. I'm like, how do you do your hair? And she said there was like this hairspray. It was a black hairspray from Taft Schwarzkopf. Do you know this?
Okay. No. Tell me.
It was like the strongest hairspray ever, and I bought it obviously. And my haircut was the same. It was like I was almost shaved, but I had like the front part was like bleached and blonde, so it was very
Yeah.
like
Wow.
punk as well in a way. I don't think I have pictures of that time,
Isn't
but
that called an oi? Like, isn't that there's a name for that haircut,
is it?
right?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know.
Like
Is it
anyway.
not Chelsea? There was also this Chelsea haircut, but it was not like that. It was different.
Yeah. Okay. You have to dig up a picture for us,
I have to find it.
please. I want to see that.
Oh my god.
Why can't I remember what an oi is? I feel like I'm definitely wrong. Anyway. Okay. So you went up to them and they didn't try to kill you or anything.
No, they were actually so happy that I asked. It was
Yeah.
so cool.
That's really
This
cool.
is also like when I did a story with Richard Burbridge and Peter Phillips
Mhm.
when I joined my agency, and then they wanted me to do Robert Smith like
Mm.
hair, like The Cure, and I didn't know The Cure. I have to be honest. I was like, oh, what is The Cure? So I listened to the music. I loved it so much, and then I was like, who's Robert Smith? I looked at documentaries, and there was one video where you see how he does his hair with like hairspray. So he just like
Oh,
teases it, and
wow. Yeah.
But back
Mhm.
then there was not like a dry texturizing spray and
Right.
this and that. It was either hairspray
Mhm.
or that's it. And maybe gel. I don't know.
Hairspray and sweat.
Yes, and do you know how they did the hair as well? Soap.
Oh, yeah.
Bar soap.
Mhm.
You basically take the soap in your hand. You can basically do it in your hair like this and
Yeah.
spray it and sorry, dry it with the hair dryer and it stays.
That's great.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I
And
always heard about the real punks would use like egg whites in their hair
oh my
too.
God,
That was
yeah,
a big one, and it gets really hard.
crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. So Robert Smith. So how did that go?
Yeah, that went super well. And I asked Peter Phillips, he told me this soap thing. He's
Mm,
like, you know how they did the hair back in the days? I'm like, no, how? Tell me. Like they used soap, water, and like they teased it. And so I did exactly the same thing, and it looked exactly like Robert Smith hair. I was so happy
wow.
about it. And I loved it. Maybe
Yeah,
that was the moment where I was like, wow, I love this hair. It's like so bad, but so good,
yeah,
at the
yeah.
same time.
I'm gonna have to look that.
I was looking at these pictures, I couldn't find it. It was like maybe I will find it for you, and then
Yes, please, or I will find it and
yeah,
make that's really cool. So I'm curious about Turkish culture
yeah.
and what it means to you.
What it means to me, Turkish culture.
Mhm.
For me,
Yeah.
Turkish culture is like football, football, football. No, um,
Simple.
Turkish culture. So I mean, I don't know anything else in Turkish culture. When I was born in Germany, I grew up in a Turkish community, and we
Mhm.
have like so many like neighbors. They lived like in a different way. One of them was like super religious, so I saw like how they were praying every day. My father was like um my family is religious too, but my father drinks like his wine every night. My mom prays every like 5 times a day, but still going to the salon, doing her nails every day. So I grew up very mixed, I would say. So I know everything about every aspect of being Turkish. But that's a question though. What do you want to know exactly? Like how?
I don't know if I have an exact destination for it,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I find that when people grow up with such visceral influence in their life,
Yeah.
even though you weren't there, I
Yeah.
mean, your parents are from there,
Yeah.
that presents, it can present all kinds of things. It can present a cultural weight, a religious weight. It can present the most beautiful aspects of
Yeah.
hospitality. It can also present a lot of visual stimulation.
Yeah.
Just the things that are around. Like I remember, so my family is my mom's side is like Puerto Rican by way of Hawaii, which is
Oh, I
strange.
thought you're Italian for some reason.
Yeah, no, I am on my dad's
Oh, yeah,
side.
right? Yeah.
So, but on my mom's side, they came straight from Hawaii to Texas. So I grew up just seeing all of this, just a lot of Asian art, a lot of jade. Like in my grandma's house was just full because it was kind of a Hawaiian thing at that by that point. It wasn't just Asian. But I think growing up seeing different patterns and textiles and stuff, and obviously Turkey is no shortage of beautiful patterns and textiles.
Yeah.
Wonder how that influenced you.
I mean, look, I was just in talking about Turkey and like the hospitality they have. Like you go there, I mean, even you and me, if we both would go to Turkey right now, you would love it so much because I was in the south recently. In like 4 years ago, we did a story with Turkish kids on the street. It's like it's the most dangerous city in Turkey. It's called the city is called Adana, but the street is like basically the police is not allowed to go in. It's like that dangerous there. But we
Okay.
went in because we're Turkish, so it's like easy to go as a guy. You can go in there and talk to them, um, and all the families there, they were like, "Oh, where are you from?" I'm like, "Oh, I live in New York, but like we are here to like make a documentary about the kids here." And they're like, "Come to my house, have a tea, and let's talk." So it was like this. So I went to the house, we talked. The kid came in. I was like, "Wow, this guy looks cool. Let's do a story with him." So I did like his hair. We took a picture of him. It's like it's very like they're very open-minded, the Turkish people, because comparing to Germany, Germany like you cannot see your neighbor's house. No,
Right.
forget about it.
Okay.
Like if you go to your neighbor's house, they can like I think it's like Texas, they can kill you there. You know, like,
Probably.
but Turkish people are very like open-minded, and they're like they love to know about you. They're never judging you. I think this is a thing in our religion as well. So I grew up Muslim, right? And my mom always teach me like the good things about the religion, not like, oh, you have to pray 5 times a day or you have to do this. She didn't say that, but she was like, okay, never judge anybody. Like, don't steal from people.
Mhm.
Like, don't take your shoes off when you go to our apartment, or like, don't eat fast. Like, all these things that I still have in my head. Like, my mom told me this and it still works. People love that.
Yeah.
Like, or if somebody speaks, let them speak, or listen more and speak less. Like all these things is
Hmm.
like basically from my culture and I love it.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah.
That's amazing. Um, Tell me a little bit more about that documentary or what you guys were doing.
Um,
That's really cool.
Yes, that was okay. My friend Olgach, I need to show. Maybe you can. I write it to you later. So my friend Olgach, he's a documentary photographer. I mean, wait, maybe it's wrong to say documentary photographer. He does photography.
Like photojournalism, maybe something like
Yeah,
that.
exactly. But if you look up at his work, he's amazing. His name is Olgach Bozal, Turkish guy,
Mhm.
and his pictures are very like again like storytelling funny in a way, but it looks very serious. He has a picture of like people dressed in like those Muslim women who just you can see their eyes. I don't know what you call it, like burqas, like completely black, and there are
Yes.
like 10 of them
Mhm.
with like guns and stuff.
Mhm.
And then he told me that's actually just like his friends dressed like that, and they bought these guns in a toy store,
Uh,
with like motorcycles.
wow.
But the pictures are like amazing. You have to look up
Bet.
at his work. And he was like, we're both Turkish. Let's go to Turkey and make a story with these kids.
Mhm.
And that's what we did. And man, I don't remember what publication. It was Dazed for Dazed magazine.
Okay.
Yes, exactly. It was really actually. I have to show you one picture. I know, like maybe you don't. Dazed. S- Yes. Oh my God. Okay, I forgot about this. It's
Um,
like
yes. Oh, amazing.
you know,
So was this the boy that you were talking
this
about?
was the boy. Yeah,
Wow, that's so cool, man.
he was
That's
like he wore this leopard tight top,
yeah.
and he was like, "Please don't like let me walk out like this. They will kill me on the street."
So you don't understand.
But it was really cool. There was like, I mean, you have to see the full story on like I think it's on models.com or something. But
I will. Yeah, I will for sure.
like
Amazing.
this
It's
kid,
so good.
and then this guy, like
Awesome.
um, yeah, we were kind of like really, we went really far that at one point we almost got kicked out because they were like, "Are you making like fun of us?" In a way.
Right.
And we're like, "Oh no, not really." And then we got like he got a lot of threat mails saying like, "Delete those pictures and emails, the video. There's a nice video. I need to
Yeah.
forward it to you." Yeah.
Please. Please.
But it was not making fun. It was just like
course.
we wanted to show like how cool
Yeah.
Turkey is in a way. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think the thing that's missing in all of this culture of we have all of this rhetoric about cultural appropriation and stuff like that.
Yeah.
To an extent, it's understandable. But what you miss out on is kind of the celebration of culture.
Yes, exactly.
The celebration of hairstyles from other places, and it should be a celebration of humanity,
100%.
right?
100%.
And I love um, the effort that you went to document that type of thing. I think this is the other half of what our industry needs, is the anthropologic side of things, going
100%. Yeah.
going there, and it's so cool. And it just really, I think that type of thing makes you proud, really proud of doing hair.
Yes, definitely. No, definitely. And I also still want to learn more. I want to learn about like different cultures. I want to go to Japan. Never been in Japan. I want to go to Japan and learn like, I don't know, how to do like a geisha's hair, or like I want
Yes.
to go to Africa. Like my wife was just in Zambia, I guess, and she told me like it was so beautiful to see like all these hairstyles and everything. But it's all new for us.
Yeah,
And I think we
totally.
should all like learn about different cultures in general.
Yeah, I'm working on some documentary ideas
Yeah.
for Lost Hairdressers, to try to do that type of thing, to try to,
Yeah.
you know I love that idea. It's really good.
By the way, I really love like Lost Hairdressers. It's crazy. Like when did you start this? Now I'm gonna ask you some questions.
Yeah, man, I think Lost Hairdressers officially started in maybe 2009, before Instagram.
Oh wow.
Yeah, because it was kind of just my brother, who was a hairdresser, and I had this idea for a company. We came up with this name, Lost Hairdressers, and then he quickly stopped. He was not into doing it. So I had this website and this idea for a business, but I didn't have any money. So this guy I know, he's like a tech mentor for me, Steve. He was like, "Listen, you don't have investment money." He's like, "But you got good ideas." I really like to write. He's like, "You like to write, so why don't you just make it a blog for now? And when you get money, you can, do your thing and make it
Yeah.
what you thought it was going to be." In that time, I moved to LA. I had no friends. I was in a new career. I was extremely intimidated by this thing here, whatever
Mhm.
it is. And so I was emotional. I was like writing and blogging a lot. So Instagram comes out. My friend is like, "You should start an Instagram for Lost Hairdressers." And I was like, "All right." So I just started
Oh
posting
wow.
like photos of hair that I liked, because I, being from the Tony and Guy world, always really disliked hair photography.
Oh my god. Yeah.
And I was like, hair needs to be a part of the picture, but maybe not the whole story or whatever. Let me just post the things I like. And that's it. That's how it got a
Wow.
following. And yeah, now it's this, whatever it is.
Whatever it is, I love that.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I showed it yesterday. My wife is not in the fashion world, but she was like, "What are you doing tomorrow?" I'm like, "Oh, I have an interview with Lost Hairdressers." She's like, "Lost Hairdressers?" I'm like, "Yeah, look at it." And then she looked at the interviews and she was like, "Well, that's so cool." Like she liked it a lot.
Man, it has really afforded me to just meet so many cool people. And obviously, like as a hairdresser myself, um, it was great to have that behind me, because I would go out to New York and do shows and stuff like that. And you'd be like, "Oh my gosh, you're Lost Hairdressers," and blah, blah, blah.
You
That's,
Lost Hairdressers.
yeah, yeah, you're the guy. So that part was really cool, but it has, I don't know, it's given me like a really interesting platform to kind of like get to know people, get to know artists, right? We have a niche, and I get to focus on a niche of artists, and kind of bring people's stories to the forefront. That's my plan, When I first started, not a lot of other people were doing it. Now there's, plenty of other people doing it,
There
but
is.
I think so. I think you have like Anthony Muscolo did Infringe and stuff like that. I think that that's kind of their goal.
True.
Um, but it's not me. It's not my perspective. So you just have to continue.
No, definitely.
Yeah.
I like this though. I like this. You know what you should do? You should do like that was always like a dream of mine though, like talking with a lot of hairstylists. Like imagine you have like a when like these anonymous alcoholics talk together and about their problems because they're like alcoholics. Imagine we do this in a positive way and like we talk about hair in a
Yeah.
good way with like a
Oh,
group of people. I mean, I
oh,
don't know if there's something like a podcast you could do like with a couple of hairstylists. That would be fun, you know?
yeah. I really feel like actually one of my good friends is in New York. His name's David Cruz. He's an editorial hairdresser out there. And we were talking about that, just like what would happen if he and I both interviewed someone.
Yeah,
But even more to your point, it would be really interesting to just have like a round table
yeah.
of editorial hairdressers talking to each other.
That would be funny. People
And
would watch
maybe,
it like
yeah, maybe have
live,
a chairman. Yeah. Wow. That'd be really cool. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
Don't be mad at me if I steal it.
No, no, go for it. You have you know more people than me, I guess.
I don't know. I don't know. But yeah, Lost Hairdressers it's been really fun. It's been fun to do. And there's
No, I
been
mean,
times of productivity and times of less,
definitely. But I
but
think it always it goes somewhere. You don't know where this is ending or like going, right? So just keep going.
going.
Like,
Yeah. I have grandiose plans for it, that I'm working on. Definitely something of I've talked about it a little bit before, but I want to do a destination documentary. Like, so say we followed you back to Germany, we got your story.
mm,
At the same time, we are following you through like a fashion week journey,
mm,
or maybe you're prepping for an editorial shoot, so some kind of like
that's cool.
very beautiful, episodic, you know,
That sounds
documentary.
amazing. You should do that.
I'm trying. Just just got to get the money. Yeah. But let's talk more about you. Tell me
Yeah.
about your wife. What does she do?
She is a life coach.
Okay. All
So
right.
she used to work for a tech company, and after a while, she got bored. She hated her job. I don't want to say she hated her job, but she wanted a change.
Yeah.
And then when she quit her job, she got pregnant.
Uh-huh.
Basically, at the same time, she studied and stuff. So she became a coach, a life coach.
Nice.
First, it was like a female leadership coaching. Now she coaches like groups of people, like companies, and
Amazing.
yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Is she German as well?
She
Or
is like me actually, but she was born in Turkey,
okay.
came to Germany, and is a German citizen. She was clever when she was 16.
Mm,
She became a German citizen, and I met her in Germany when I was 16,
yeah.
15.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we're like high school sweethearts.
Really? And did you stay together the whole time?
I mean, there's like always like on and offs, but I would say yes, like most of the time, yes.
That's really cool.
We married when I was 23, and that's been almost, yeah, over, for sure, over 10 years. I don't want to say.
That's really great. Did you always want to be a father?
Yes. I mean, I was ready when I was 23, but
Really?
my wife was like, I want to turn 30 and then let's see and think about it.
Yeah.
And then it was 30, 35, 36, and we got a child. So
Nice.
best thing that happened to us.
I would
It was
imagine.
great.
Yeah. And what is his name? Do you mind sharing?
Ilyas.
Ilyas. Okay.
Ilyas. Yeah, he's
So,
cute.
man,
He's like, he makes like my life. I want to show you like this picture.
oh man. Yeah, he's a happy kid, huh?
He's super happy. He's
Uh,
really, everybody says like he's a happy kid, but yeah, of course he
yeah,
goes through phases as well.
of course, of course. Yeah. I can't imagine how being a dad adds to the depth of your life. It's
I
just got.
mean, yes, I just had this talk with, Benjamin Miller?
Yes. I mean, I don't know him, but I know who
Yeah,
he is.
I just met him for coffee like before you today,
Mhm.
and we talked about how it changed my life. in the beginning when my wife was pregnant, she didn't know, but I was like, fuck, I'm worried about my career. Like, I don't know if I can, because I was like going up and up and up, and then now you got pregnant. But then all of a sudden I get like more jobs, like even though I thought it would be less.
Right.
But I think that's the thing. Like the less you think about your job, like the less you think about, oh, I'm worried, I don't make money, I need to make more money, then the more you make. If you don't stress about your job, you think you get more successful in a way. I don't know. That's what I think.
I think you might be right. I mean, I feel like there's evidence that it's almost built into the algorithm of life
Yeah,
that if you don't worry about it. It's like when you're worrying about it, you're going against something. When you just
exactly.
relax and let it happen. Obviously, it's easy for us to say when we're
I was
okay,
just gonna say
right?
it's so easy to say. I know, I know, I know.
But
But I think Instagram and like social media, like for me, Instagram was great. For you, Instagram was great. But I think Instagram in general or social media in general is really not really helping us to grow,
definitely,
because again, me and you, we like kind of we started early and we know how to work with it. But the next generation, or like the one after us, is like struggling with it because they compare themselves with other people, even though if they say no they don't, but you automatically compare yourself with, like, oh, why did he get this job and I didn't, or like, I could have done this, or let me do something similar, let me copy this guy, like it's really hard, and it doesn't make it easier for us,
no. I
for
mean, they
them,
say
for us.
what is the saying? Joy is the thief of what is it?
Yes.
Joy is the thief of sorry, no. Comparison is the thief of joy,
Yeah,
right? And what are you going to do? You can't help but compare your work to others or what appears as success. Maybe when you're having a slow time or whatever, it can be really
exactly.
unhealthy. Yeah. Do you
I,
feel like you would let your child be exposed to social media? Would you try to stop that?
we saw all these documentaries on not on Netflix recently, like, have you watched the show? Oh my god, I forgot the name. Abdolence?
Adolescence.
Adolescence, that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't watched it yet, but I've heard a lot about it.
Fuck. And
Yeah.
then there was another thing. I think it was like a bad influence, some whatever Netflix documentary, like a real documentary about
Right.
kids who try to be famous on Instagram and then they fail and then they're like really not happy and kill themselves all of a sudden. Like, it's hard. And my son is like not even 2 years old, but what will happen in 10 years? I don't know. Maybe they will be like, maybe they will be exposed to social media all the time with like
Right.
glasses,
Yeah.
or I don't know. Like, I
Yeah.
really don't want him to be
Accelerate.
unhappy though.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I can imagine if we had kids, I would want the least exposure to any screen possible. But also you don't want your kid to feel like you're holding them
Yeah,
back
you're
that they
limiting,
explode at any.
exactly. Like, my friend has an iPhone, why do I not have an iPhone? Or
Yeah,
like, and you are in New York, everybody, even the homeless people have iPhones here, like seriously, like you kind of have to give him at one point
sure.
an iPhone, or like whatever phone, a smartphone. But the thing is, I want him to teach the way my parents grew up as well. I want to let him write something to my mom, maybe like send her a letter. I did that. I was sending letters to my cousins, or like my uh, auntie or whatever, right? And I want them to learn that, or like even like taking pictures. Like, there's a difference between the iPhone and the camera. My son knows how to, like, when I do this, he knows I take a picture.
Mhm.
But all the other parents, they're like this,
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know, it's the
Yes.
iPhone. But
My wife is a nanny, and she, uh,
she's a nanny?
mhm, yeah,
Oh, that's so cool. Good to know. But
nannies for a 3 and 5-year-old, and their parents are good friends of ours. But it's amazing that when the phone is pointed at them, they can turn it on.
crazy,
They
right?
just they know how to pose. Obviously, they have to be in the mood to do it, but they
Mm.
they can turn it on when they want. It's pretty wild.
I mean, wild, right? But also maybe good
Yeah.
to grow up like that. I don't know. We will see. We will see.
There's a lot of unknown right now.
I know.
Well, so I was gonna get back. I read that you were German hairdresser of the year for
Yeah.
how many years? 3 years? 3 times?
Um, it was like there's different categories. I think one times it was German hairdresser of the year. Then it was two times like not session hairdresser of the year, but it was woman hairdresser of the year like two times afterwards.
Got it.
But yeah, I won like three times in a row, and I was like, that's why I thought I will kill it in New York.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
I was like, wow, I'm really good. I go to New York, and I was like, nope, it doesn't. They don't know what that is.
Well, did that because yeah, like you're saying, that's a big build up, and then moving, and then it's like silent, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
were you ever doubting your skill set at that point, or was it just like,
Um,
nobody cares what I do?
in the beginning, it gave me a lot of confidence. I think if I would have stayed in Germany, I would be so confident, because it was like a thing that people. I mean, you're like, oh, I was German hairdresser of the year, and they're like, wow, really? Like it was cool.
Yeah, totally.
But here, I mean, if you tell in New York somebody that you're a German hairdresser of the year, they're like, so what? It was kind of like that. So I really felt like I was born again. Like I can start again from scratch. And I feel like I don't do anything that's like related to my past. Like I don't do hair that way that I used to do in Germany.
Mhm.
I'm completely different now.
Can you articulate any example of that? Like
Mm,
you prior to New York, German hairdresser of the
mhm.
year, and then this version that we know now.
So I think I think we talked about this. So basically in Germany I was like following rules, and like I had to do things a certain way to achieve things, right? When I was like working as an educational director, I had to like do the step by steps
Yeah,
and present this hairstyle exactly as it is.
sure.
But what I learned here in New York is I present those things the way I think is right.
Yeah,
And this was not working in Germany. So
yeah.
if I was doing like something that I was thinking it was right, they'd be like this, looking at but I see something different here. Like, did you do the same?
Right. Yeah.
So again, yeah, I learned in New York. I learned like breaking the rules.
Yeah,
Breaking the rules is the way um, for success, I
sure.
would say.
Tell me a bit about your I think your creative process. Like you have an idea, right? How generally where do you kind of like get those ideas? Are they just through do you do a lot of digging yourself, or is it just you know
Um, yeah, my my hair teacher back in the days told me that recently. He was like, I remember when I was an apprentice. This was like 2005 as well, like 4 or 5, something like that. Everybody was like partying, and I was like staying longer in the salon to try some things. So I was going home to my basement to do hair. I mean, I'm not even like, this is really true. I'm not even like making something up, but I was like going to my basement, locking the door, and like trying things. Like I made wigs myself because I didn't know that you can buy wigs back then. I was like, wigs is expensive. I tried to make it myself. I got some cheap extensions to like the wigs. Um, what was the question again? Just to
yeah,
go to the answer.
I well just as maybe a first step in your creative process,
Yeah.
where do the ideas come from for you
Oh yeah,
often?
where did the ideas come from? Exactly. By doing things.
Yeah, right.
So this is why when COVID happened, I was kind of locked in the house, and I basically had a corner where I tried things out. I did like, I went back to the roots to New York. It was like, okay, let me get my doll hats again. Let me do some wigs. Let me take some pictures. And then it got like so many things in my apartment. My wife was like, you need a storage.
Yeah.
So I said, you know what? Forget about the storage. I get a studio. So I got a new small studio, and all my free time I went to the studio, even though I had nothing in my head, no ideas. I just went there, and I was just sitting and thinking. And then sometimes I got something in my hand, like here I did this today. Like this is a metal thing. I braided, and I
Mhm.
think I'm gonna do like a hairstyle with this. I don't know at some
Yeah,
point. Um,
cool.
Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. I basically just try and try and try and like use materials, not hair. I
Yeah,
sketch a lot.
yeah.
I um I buy books, I buy used books. I look at like 1920s sketches from like Vogue when there was no photography, but people were sketching hair.
Mhm.
And this is one of my biggest inspirations actually, like looking at old books. Do you know this artist Erte?
Ayrton?
Erte, right? There's a book somewhere here. Oh, this here. Look, I'm like exposing. This is the first time I'm telling someone. This is the first time I'm telling someone where my main ideas come from. I'm not even
We,
joking.
we appreciate it.
This guy.
Oh, I see. Wow, very cool. Okay.
So this guy is a French, I think Polish origin, but French guy who
Mhm.
was sketching things for like Harper's Bazaar, Vogue, all these covers when there was no photography, but like there's things like this in there.
Yes. Yes.
And
Okay.
then if you look at these pictures, I mean, now I gave you guys the name, you can look at it, and then you'll see like, oh, this is where he got his idea. It's basically copying as well, but from the 20s.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
you copy, but it still is going to be you.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's no deletion of you. But you can definitely see. I think that's a really great reference, even just for composition.
Yeah,
Composition, photograph, and how much space that the hair takes up in it. And it's yeah, it's great.
yeah.
You
So it's a
shared it.
lot of books,
Yeah, amazing. At what
historical
point,
books.
at what point have you workshopped the idea enough that you're like, okay, I'm ready to call the model and photograph her?
Oh, when you know what I did? When Instagram started to have this option to like see, you can like go to a location and see like where people are around. Like, no, how was it? People can tag themselves in certain locations.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
like a Google Earth type of thing. Is that what you?
something. I think this. I don't do it anymore, but you can go on Instagram and see like a Google Earth, see like, oh, this person tagged herself in this coffee shop. And then I was looking through the pictures and looked at like cool faces, like kind of street casting in a way. And I
Yeah,
messaged them directly saying like, hey, do you want a haircut or
nice.
something? And
Right.
then can I take a picture of you? And
Yes.
basically, I gave people haircuts in exchange. I got a picture.
Amazing.
So this is how it started. And then I took pictures. And then at one point, I reached out to agencies and be like, hey, I'm taking pictures as well. I
Yes.
can take like 2 or 3 pictures for you for your portfolio. And then I would love to try something like a wig or something. And then one model tells the other model, and then this model tells this model, and then it became like a thing. So
Yeah, it's such a nice thing. It's
yeah,
so
it's like the best thing ever, honestly. Like because you can do whatever you want. No client is telling you beside of the model. Nobody's telling you like, oh, I want this or I want that. I don't like this. Like you're just
yeah.
pushing yourself.
I think as because I'm now mostly in the salon, but
You have
um,
your own salon, right?
no, I did for a while. There was a Lost Hairdressers salon. There were two of them in
There
Dallas.
was.
It's insane. Yeah, that's a whole other story. But it's better to not have a salon. I think in life it's better not to have a salon, but some people do it really well. It was just I didn't live there. I don't live there, and I had partners, and it was just kind of it was a lot. But I do hair in a salon in LA here, and I just think it's the same with almost any other skill set. Um, if you document your own work, whether you're playing guitar or whether you're skateboarding, when you film yourself, when you document it, you just get better. You see what you're doing well or what you're doing wrong or what you'd like to change style wise. And I think I think that's good for hairdressers, whether they're in salon or not, but to play with hair pieces and go photograph it themselves. You know.
Yes, that's the thing with you're right, and you asked me this question earlier as well, like how photography changed the way of how I do hair. So when I do hair and take pictures of it, most of the time till now, I like have to Photoshop. I'm like, oh wait, there's a hair in the face. I'm like, wait, I should have just like removed it with my finger, or the shape is not right. I need to. I'm like, wait, I should have just done it in the beginning. So this is how you kind of grow and be like more perfect in the way you like the hair. And I
Yeah.
think that's when you learn how you learn to be on set as well. Like you'd be like, oh wait, before you take this picture, let me just fix this hair because I know you will edit it later. Like I don't want you to edit that. And I
Yeah.
think you're right. If we have this opportunity, the iPhone, like everybody has a phone, we should just take pictures of our own work and like try to play with it, like try to play with the filter and like
Yes.
like crop it or zoom in or like do something with it and think about what you could do better next time.
Yeah. I invested in a Fujifilm camera,
Which
uh,
one?
the X Pro 3.
It's so good.
And I mean, I love taking photographs just of life. I just love,
Yeah.
and having this thing in your hand, like you were saying earlier, outside of your phone, it just makes you want to. They have it set up where you really are encouraged to use the viewfinder,
Yeah.
and I think hairdressers should invest in cameras.
You
Uh,
don't want to know how many cameras I have. Like every photographer, I'm like, okay, this is just on my table now. Okay, I'm not
yeah.
even joking. Okay, this is like this is a camera here,
Mhm. Yep.
and then I have another one here. Oh my god, there's this
Oh,
one small
nice.
one. Like I have those small ones that
Power.
I love to use.
Nice.
Then I have this is my Fuji that that's my go-to Fuji.
Yes. So that's the. Oh yeah. Yep. Those are
It's
great.
so good.
Mhm.
And then I have like a video camera too. And then I have this one, which is great. This is
Oh
the
yeah.
Andy Warhol one.
Amazing. Amazing.
It's so good.
So when you have models in your studio, what do you reach for first as far as
In terms of cameras,
yeah, sorry.
um, no, first I go the safe way and do the digital, like the Fuji.
The Fuji, okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
because I know that the pictures look great,
sure.
and I know that it's basically what you see that you get in the camera. That's it.
Yeah.
And then if I do something that's very like sculptural or like very contrasty in a way, then I use like old cameras,
Cool.
like even like small cameras like this, like a
Yeah.
um,
My wife found a pile of old,
oh my
little
god,
cameras like that. So I'm like, bring them back to LA.
honestly they're the best. I was
Yeah,
gonna say if I have pictures here of any models. No, I don't. You don't want to see these pictures.
no problem. You can send them later if you want.
Yeah.
And okay, great. Really nice. So considering that you're married, considering that you're a father,
Yeah.
right? When it comes to your personal projects, such as the Give Me a Moment,
Oh yeah.
right? Um, First off, how do you prioritize? Not prioritize, I guess you wouldn't, well, you'd have to assign it some prominence, but how do you prioritize your creative work when you have so much that you have no choice but to attend to? Do you know what I mean?
Meaning in terms of family and other
Family
things.
versus your project.
Um, Maybe I have to reveal my new name of the book that I'm working on as
Oh,
well at the same time. It's tough, but the good thing is you always find a way.
sure.
So we have a daycare going on, which is like from Monday to Friday, and it's always like from 8:30 to kind of 3:30. Because my son is in daycare, my
Yeah,
wife is working from home, and the studio is like literally 2 blocks from the daycare.
nice.
Meaning, if I don't have jobs, then I'm in the studio and I can create things to talk with you and like talk with other things, right? Um, but then I'm really focusing. The first thing I do in the studio is talking about my day, I meditate first. I do like this transcendental meditation. I don't know if you heard about that. I start with that in the morning, and then I just think first. I'm like, okay, what should I do? What should I work on? Sometimes I have like many projects going on at the same time. But what I do is I prep things before I execute it on a model. You know, I like prep a lot of things. And then if I see like a week coming up, like an empty week, no work, then I try to reach out to agencies and be like, hey, do you have some girls for me? Like I want to test some stuff on them. And then I have things ready to like put on their head or like do with their head. And
Yeah.
um, but again, this is the only time frame that I have. It's like 8:30 to 3:30. And I
Right.
think this will be the name of my new book as well, called like 8:30, 3:30.
I love it. That's
You
really,
know, this
yeah.
is again like otherwise you will have for me my free, you know how like people when they don't work they go home and chill or like to PlayStation or like are scrolling on Instagram all them. My free time is being in the studio and doing something. I'm like I cannot. I think what do you call it? I have this ADHD
Yeah.
or whatever you call it. I'm like I have to do something constantly. It's like really.
It's working for you. I think the older I get, the more I resent idle time.
Yeah.
And I don't know if it's because you're just getting closer to death or what. But like I,
Come on. Like
if we are, if my wife and I are watching TV, like I have to be, like practicing. I play guitar, so I need to be learning something, or else it feels like an absolute waste of time. But sometimes you need to turn off, and maybe that's where the transcendental meditation comes in for you.
no, exactly. I just started that to be honest. Like the meditation, my wife was recommending it to me, and she was like, I never believed in. I believe in like closing your eyes and like just go to your body and listen to you. And this is basically what TM does, you know. And it's very important to have me time. It's so
Hmm.
important. But I have to say, my wife also like after 9 p.m. I have to be with her, sit on the couch and watch like a
Yeah,
documentary.
totally.
Otherwise, you don't have a good relationship, you know.
Yeah, quality time. You have to do it.
It is quality time, yes. And in the morning, it's my son and me. You know, like from 6 a.m. to like daycare time, it's like just me and him.
That's cool.
It's good. It's a great. It's great. It's great.
That's amazing. So tell me, because you just revealed, the possible name, the working title of your new
Yeah.
book, but how did Give Me a Moment come about?
It was pretty simple. So when I started doing models, I became so basically how I got into the models first is like I mean I was on jobs and I always had like a camera with me, like whatever camera, all these cameras here. I'm like, oh, can I take a picture like somewhere in the corner of your hair? You know, like so I took a picture and then I showed it to them and I'm like, hey, do you mind coming to my studio next week? Let's do some hair story.
Yeah.
And then this is how it started. And then there was one girl that I work with a lot, and she's still my friend Chloe.
Mhm.
Her name is Chloe Mango on Instagram. She's really, really cute Asian girl. And we did. I think you will remember when I tell you the picture was she had like a balloon hair.
Uh-huh.
Wait, I have to show
I,
you.
I think I know exactly what.
One second.
Yeah, please.
Where is it? Ah, here. Sorry. I have all these Polaroids that I never kind of published, but there's one. Uh, here. Oh my God, yeah.
Oh, rad. Yes.
I
Yeah.
think this was the image.
Yeah. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yep. Perfect.
And this was also the day when she was like, I was just taking pictures for fun. And then she said, you should do a book one day. I'm like, you're right. I should
That
do
was
a book
Chloe's
one day.
idea. Yeah.
Yes. And then it was like 2 years after. I basically worked like, I was working a lot. So I did like on the weekends, I did some hair pictures. And then a friend of mine helped me with like collecting the pictures, sorting some stuff out. This is how the book came along. And I had so much fun with like sharing those images. And like, it was not even like about, I think I just shared on Instagram 5 pictures or 6 pictures, and the rest is still in the book. It was so great to show people the book and not an Instagram page. She like, oh, this is my new work,
Yeah.
Yeah, it was good, and I really want to do another one. Like, I don't know yet. Maybe it's all these pictures here on the wall, like something with these, but yeah, we'll see.
Cool. So yeah, maybe not the exact same format.
No,
Maybe.
I want to do a proper book this time. Like
Yeah.
the last time was like more like a zine-ish,
Yeah.
which I still love because it's very like personal and small, and it was like my handwriting and stuff.
Yeah.
But I think next time it will be with like a proper publication and like
Cool.
with a book. But I'm taking my time. There's no rush, and
Yeah.
I wish that like a lot of people would do that. You should do
I-
one.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You should do
Yeah.
one.
I want to do one that is kind of a compilation of my favorite people. It might even be a compilation of the people who I've interviewed.
Yeah.
And maybe excerpts from the interviews that I really
Yeah.
loved. I think that would be really
My
cool.
friend, do you know Michael Gordon?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was like one of the first persons that I met in New York actually. Like I messaged him on Instagram when I moved to New York, and he just wrote me his number, and he's like, call me and meet me. So I met him in his office.
Yeah.
He helped me a lot. He was like my mentor in New York, and
He's very you don't necessarily expect him to be so approachable because he's kind of got
right,
a guru sensibility to him.
exactly. From him, I learned meditation and stuff. I
Okay.
mean, he was like, "Oh, we have to meditate now." I'm like, "Oh, really?" I'm like, "Is that something religious?" I don't. I'm. I can't. So, why did I mention his name? Oh, he did this book, Hair Heroes. I think he just interviewed like 5 people or something. But I love the idea of like sharing
Yes.
things from those people, and I think you can do this in like a bigger,
Yeah. Yeah. It's one of the plans. We'll see. Hopefully sooner than later.
You're one of those like a lot of plans, right? Yeah.
Too many ideas and not enough time.
Oh my god, I love
But
that.
I think part of this format, like it allows me to make like a real connection with people.
Yep.
So that if in the future I'm like, hey, Mustafa, is there anything you'd want to contribute to this book that we're making? Then it's going to be much easier than if I'm just some corporation, asking for your talent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So hopefully this is building up to those things. Having
Yes,
a podcast,
definitely.
making relationships and stuff. Yeah.
That's cool. I love this. You should definitely do that. Also, you know what we should do? I know maybe you have more questions, but when you are in New York or like I come to your area, we should do. You should do with other people like podcast on a table and just you and
Oh,
this person.
absolutely.
You
Absolutely.
know?
That will come. The problem is that most of the people I want to interview are in Europe or in New York. And so but yes, if you are ever in Los Angeles, please tell me, we'll get together. It doesn't even have to be like this format. We
Yeah.
might go have a drink and go, visit a wig shop.
Yeah.
It could be something much, much more
Yeah.
fun than, you know what I mean?
No,
So
we should do that.
please let me know. We'll
Yes.
hang out for sure. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about your agency
Yep.
and how you got to them and how much it matters who's representing you.
Yes, definitely. So
You
I
so
was. Yeah.
you're with Art
Tell
and
me.
Commerce now?
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. Continue.
I'm with Art and Commerce. So basically, when I met Michael Gordon, let's
Mhm.
go back to that. So when I met Michael Gordon was like, aim for the big ones, aim for the big ones. And I was like, Michael, I'm like, come on, I don't know if I can do that. He's like, you're talented, they will love you, I'm like, sure, whatever. So basically I went with him to like, I'm not gonna say the other agencies, but I went with him to other agencies, and they were actually ready to sign me as well. Like
Wow.
they were like, "Oh, we want to sign you. We want to sign you." I was like, "Wow, they really like me." I was like, I was shocked, kind of.
Is this
And
still 2016 ish?
2017,
Okay.
end of 2017, I think. Yes, I don't remember. Maybe it was 2018. But then my dream was like art and commerce. I have to say, like right away. I'm like, fuck, I wish art and commerce take me right away. But I think how I met my agent Tim is he reached out to me on Instagram. We were kind of following each other, and then he texted me. He's like, "Let's have a coffee." So I met him, and then he showed interest in the work that I did personally in my home. You know, like with the doll heads and everything. And then he basically told me that he was interested to meet me because of this work, like because of my personal work. And this made me so happy because like all the other people that I met was like, yes, they were interested, but they were like, oh, what clients do you have? What do you like? You know, like,
Right, right.
and I didn't know. Like, and I told Tim, my agent, right away, I'm like, I don't really have clients. Then he was like, okay with it because he saw the talent in me, you know? And then, yeah, so basically this, obviously he didn't sign me right away. So it was like basically following my work, coming on set together. I met some other people from the agency, and then they signed me. And I really, when I met the, when I met like his boss, basically, she asked me just personal questions. It was not about work. It was about, what's your hobbies? Do you have siblings? And I really loved it. I'm like, okay, these guys care really about me. It's not about the work that I do. It's like more about my person.
Hmm.
And I was like, wait, I want to be with you guys. You know, let's be together forever. Let's sign a contract. Um, yeah, basically, dream came true with that for sure. And they're really, really nice. It's like a family. I
That's
mean,
really
also at the same time, I'm like, now I feel like it's, I could have gotten a different agent and I'm not getting along with this person and I would have changed the agency. But I think it's all about the relationship between you and your agent or the
Mhm.
person who represents you. It could
Sure.
be your wife, it could be like someone who's helping you. But if you get along with this person, it's guaranteed success, I would say.
What made art and commerce so illustrious for you? What made that the top tier for you?
Um, when I heard that there was like some names that I saw, again, I'm like, it's not good to say names, but I saw some names and I was like, wait, is this person still working? And they're like, no, but we never kind of let people go. Like
Right.
if they want to go, yes, but we don't let them go.
Right.
And I was like, wow, this is so cool. You know, it's like literally like a family, you know?
Yeah.
So that made me feel like home because my heritage, my like the Turkish people are like this too. Like they, even if you don't like your mom and dad, you still take care of them, you know, till they're alive. Like it's not like sending them to some,
Yeah.
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
But yeah, it made me feel like home, you know.
Oh, that's great. That's really
Yeah,
great. Yeah. Um, and so obviously they understand you, they understand who you are, and therefore they can align you with work that is
yeah,
going to
exactly.
be
That's the
fulfilled.
thing.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's very important to give your artists clients with you think they will get along with, you know?
Yeah.
Because of course I could also be like, oh, Tim, give me just every job that makes money, you know?
Sure.
And he could do that easy. But
Mhm.
I think it's more about like being selective at some point and making those jobs who make you happy as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Either
Absolutely.
it's money or it's like creativity, you know? Like,
Yeah. Hopefully at some point you can find
yeah,
balance of both, right? Uh,
exactly.
yeah, very nice. Have you, there's probably more than one, but are there any photographers out there that, because you're a photographer yourself, but when you're putting a shoot together, what's your dream team?
Um,
So you could even, photographers, makeup artists,
yeah, yeah.
who do you vibe with?
There's, in terms of photographers, there's like a couple of people that I could name right away, but they're like all different. You know what I mean? So basically, if I would say one name, nobody would be offended. But I really like to work with. There's Caroline Jacobs. She's my friend. Dutch photographer, amazing. I mean, I say Dutch. She's from the Netherlands, but lives in Paris. She's amazing, super creative, and super fun to work with.
Nice.
Obviously, it's like Rafael Pavarotti. He's like a super creative mind as well, and super fun to work with.
Uh-huh.
And then there's also, when you look at their work, like Anthony Seklawi and Sam Rock are like super cool photographers as well. They're like kind of they shoot like in kind of raw but very rich and very like very emotional as well, their pictures. And I really like to work with them. And again, it's like they're all like a little bit different. It's not like they have the same taste. But also I have like people that I never work with,
Hmm.
and they're like Paolo Roversi. I'm like, I never work with him, but some people of my agency work with him a lot, and I'm like, I'm not even jealous because I don't want to work with him. It's like, when you say like never meet your hero,
Yeah.
like I
Right,
don't
right.
want to meet him. I'm like,
It's inevitable, but
exactly.
yeah,
But those people I really like to work with. And
nice.
then I mean, in general, every photographer who's like interested in my work as well.
Yeah,
Like my friend Olgaç that I told you about, the Turkish photographer. He's very interested in things that I do, and he's not even a fashion photographer. That's
right.
why I really like to like, oh, let's do something together, and I think it
Yeah,
worked out really well.
yeah.
Or
Are there particular photographers that perhaps push you or pull something out of you
mm,
that you don't easily access without them?
good question. I think there was a thing with Rafael Pavarotti
Hmm.
when we worked with Rihanna. We had this, but when he told me it was Rihanna, the talent, and we do for Perfect Magazine, we basically for 2 weeks we were sharing references, and I had like my wall, like this wall in the back was full of pictures with references,
Hmm.
and based on that, I was like working day and night doing like wigs, sending it to him. He was like, "Ah, cool, but can you try this and can you try that?" So basically, he pushed me so much that at the end, I went to the shoot with like 20 wigs. I think I
Uh-huh.
have a picture of that. I might send you this. Maybe you can. It's like on the table there, are like 20 wigs,
Hmm.
and then Rihanna came in, and she was like, "Wow, like what's going on here?" So this is when I was like, I was kind of happy that he pushed me, but at the same time, when I was working on these wigs, I'm like, fuck. So hard. Yeah, this I love when people push me, like
Yeah,
to the edge.
that's great.
Um,
So was he pushing you to a point where you just felt like you had to cover many bases?
no,
Or
it was just like, yeah. At some point, I was like, wait, I don't know where he is going. Like, I don't know what he was thinking. But at the same time, then I understood, okay, wait, there's multiple things going on. So he because photographers cannot really explain things like we would explain things. So basically they can give you 10 pictures and you're like, that's what he wants, and you show him one image and they're like, okay, got it.
right,
That's why you have to try and try to find the image that he has in his head, or they have in his head. Yeah,
man, that's a cool process.
I know, it's amazing, it's
I
really
think
cool.
that process is something that I would like to figure out how to document.
Yes,
You know, it's obviously can step on so many feet because a lot of this stuff can be private or whatever, but it's
true.
such a like a great thing to be able to have somebody sink their teeth into from the outside. Other creatives seeing how an idea comes to life.
Right.
Yeah, it's really cool.
No, definitely. But I think that this should be, I think in general, we as hair or makeup or whatever artists, we have to share more and like
Hmm.
show people the process in terms, besides, like, like my mom used to say, and I hope she's not blaming me for telling this here, but my mom used to say, don't tell your secrets to anyone. I'm like, Mom, come on, like, I have to. Like, there's no way I should keep. Why should I keep the secret that I use this tape and not that tape? Like, it's fine. This is my favorite tape. You have a different favorite tape. But if somebody really likes your work and wants to do something similar to it, then why not show him? I don't care.
Absolutely. Yeah,
And I think the more you share, the more you get.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
It's also part of that algorithm. It is. even if people are trying to copy you completely, even if people are trying to do a carbon copy of exactly what you do, it will never be you. You
Yeah.
know,
No.
it will never be you. And sharing is just going to elevate everyone else's craft. It's just going to make everything better. I feel like the hairdressers I've met in the past who are desperately trying to hold on to their secrets and their tricks and all that
Yeah.
stuff tank. I feel like they just kind of go down with their secrets, but the people who are like very open, it's just
Yeah,
it
think about Sassoon. Vidal
yeah.
Sassoon, like he shared his like whole back in the days it was like new, like those technical haircuts and stuff. He shared it, right? And
Yep.
people grew, the industry grew, and he was still a big hairstylist, you know?
Yeah, no, because nobody's gonna do it like you in the end.
No. Yeah.
There are plenty of people who copied the Beatles, but nobody does it as good as the
And
Beatles.
also I don't know who that is, like you know what I mean? Who copied them? It's
Yeah,
impossible. I
yeah,
mean, yeah,
it's so crazy.
true.
Well, man, I want to save some for another meetup and another interview
Yeah.
sometime soon. Hopefully, do you make it to LA very much?
Yeah, I do. Actually, I was almost about to go tomorrow, but I said no to a job.
Okay. Well, please, if you ever are coming and you feel like you're gonna have any free time,
Yeah,
let me know. And we'll go.
yeah,
I'll hang out.
definitely.